Dulcie Quinn bumped my shoulder. Why are you just standing there? Come on. It's time to board. I looked up at the familiar train number and the familiar scene, and a chill swept through my body. In that instant, I knew I had been reborn. I turned to Dulcie, and my gaze instinctively dropped to her stomach. If you didn't look closely, you would never notice the slight curve of her belly. She was smiling at me like nothing was wrong, her arm linked through mine. Come on, Haley, she said sweetly. It's our turn. I forced a stiff smile. Okay. As soon as we boarded, Dulcie's phone rang. She shot me a guilty look, then made an excuse about needing to use the bathroom. I nodded. Okay. Then I started looking over my berth. I remembered that the upper berth across from mine belonged to a difficult older woman. In my previous life, Dulcie had gotten into a fight with her husband, Wallace Lambert, and wanted to get away for a few days to clear her head. I had immediately taken time off work and decided to go with her so she wouldn't be alone. When my boyfriend, Shane found out, he offered to help us get the tickets. I still had an unfinished contract at work, so I left it to him. What I hadn't expected was that right before boarding, he would suddenly grab my arm and say, in a dead serious tone, I spent 3 days trying to get you this lower berth. Do you know how much effort that took? When I just stared at him in confusion, he pointed at the dark circles under his eyes. Haley, I'm serious. I got this ticket for you, for your health. If you switch with anyone else, I'm going to be mad. At the time, I laughed and tried to reassure him. I won't. Besides, who would randomly want to switch berths with me? But I never expected that the moment the train started moving, Dulcie would ask, Haley, I'm not comfortable in the upper berth. Want to switch? Her voice was pitched just right, loud enough for all 4 people in our compartment to hear. I felt a little awkward, but remembering Shane's warning before boarding, I still turned her down softly. Dulcie pouted. Fine. You really do everything he says. I waved it off and decided to get some sleep. To make time for this trip with Dulcie, I had worked overtime for an entire week. I was exhausted and badly sleep deprived. I desperately needed the rest, but I never expected the accident. I was jolted awake by Dulcie's scream. When I opened my eyes, she was sitting on the floor, pale as a sheet, clutching her stomach in pain. My baby, my baby. I was still trying to process what she meant when I suddenly saw the blood spreading beneath her. I froze in terror. Thankfully, the train was almost at the station by then. The train staff quickly helped us contact a hospital and call an ambulance. The moment we got off the train, we were rushed straight to the hospital. On the way there, no matter how many times I asked, Dulcie refused to say a word. Late that night, Shane and Wallace arrived at the hospital together. Babe, are you okay? What about the baby? To my complete shock, Dulcie lifted a hand and pointed straight at me. Haley Walker, if you had switched berths with me, none of this would have happened. Honey, our baby died because of her. Chapter 2. Just as I was about to explain, Shane spoke up too. He looked at me with undisguised disgust. Haley, I honestly never thought you were this kind of person. You told me more than once that you were jealous of Dulcie's life. I thought you were just venting. I never imagined you could be this cruel. Wallace was beside himself with rage. He lunged at me and wrapped his hand around my throat. Do you have any idea how hard it was for us to get pregnant? You bitch. My baby is dead, so you can die too. He strangled me to death with his bare hands. After that, he was sent to prison. Only after I died did I find out that Shane and Dulcie had been sleeping together all along. With me dead and Wallace out of the picture, the two of them shamelessly moved in together. The sharp pain in my hand snapped me fully awake. I immediately walked over to the older woman across from me. She was standing in the aisle, making things difficult for the train attendant. We paid the same price, so why do I get the upper berth? You people are bullying an old woman. I'm going